to another episode of Conversation with the Chef. I'm Jo Ritty and I love sharing with you the conversations I get to have with talented and passionate chefs. It's the backstory, if you will, to the food they're putting up. I begin today by acknowledging the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, traditional custodians of the lands and airwaves where this conversation takes place. Land which was never ceded. Land where communities came together to eat seasonally, locally and without exhausting resources. I pay my respects to their elders past, present and rising. Today I'm talking to Jordan Clay at Pipi's Kiosk. I love Pipi's Kiosk. It's in Albert Park, but it's right on the beach, as in literally on the beach. You sit at a table where the sea is pretty much lapping at your ankles, but you're drinking beautiful wine and eating glorious food. With the floor-to-ceiling windows, you get to see all the theatrics, whether it's glorious sunny weather or dramatic storms. It's all beautiful, and at Pipi's, you're centre stage. Plus, you're in the hands of an incredible team led by Jordan Clay and Tom Hunter, who all like each other and they love that you're there. Pipi's is the epitome of hospitality. I wrote about them for Broadsheet when they first opened, and I've been wanting to get back over there to talk to Jordan ever since. When Canadian-born Jordan was 18, he won a competition that took him to Paris, and he ended up cooking at Le Chateaubriand before it got on the world's 50 best list. Maybe it was because of Jordan. Anyway, since then, he's cooked at great places around the world. Before, lucky for us, he came to Melbourne. Having cooked at Cumulus Up and Ôter, where he met friend and business partner Tom Hunter, he then, with Tom, launched Pipi's. And the world is a better place for it. I love this conversation, and I absolutely know you will too. Hi, how are you?
Jordan, nice to meet you.
Yeah. I came here to write about Pipi's when we first opened.
Okay.
That's a couple of years ago. A lot's happened since 2021.
Yes, a lot has happened since then, indeed. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
So yeah, how's your week been?
Good. So I'm a teacher as well as a writer. So yeah, it's been a busy week. I teach French. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm from Canada, so we have to take French compulsory for like a very long time.
So you still speak French?
Not so much anymore.
Yeah.
If you don't lose it, or use it, you kind of lose it.
Exactly right. Yeah, same
Like-
with my German. Yeah.
We are doing I'm going to Indonesia to cook on a resort in a couple of weeks' time.
Oh.
And the resort is owned by some French people. And when I did a video call, they're like, "Oh, Jordan, I see on your CV you've worked in France. Like, do you speak French?" And like, I was like, "Yeah, I can speak a little bit, but it's like very elementary." And I was like, "Je comprends un petit peu," and they're like, "Ah, but wait," like, and then they just like rifled off into the thing, and I'm like,
No.
I can't, not that well.
Attendez. Yeah. Oh, that's exciting. Is that just for a holiday?
No, it's like this new resort on a very small island, and they're just hosting residencies, like 3-week residencies. And I think what's happened is they've had somebody pull out last minute, and they're trying to fill a spot. So it's all happened very abruptly, but.
And does that mean that you are inheriting menus, or you can go and do what you like?
No, you do whatever you like.
Yeah.
I think it's like a multi-outlet resort, and one of the outlets is like not a fine dining restaurant, but a restaurant proper, and it's just like one chef's table, 12 to 20 covers. It'll be interesting.
It's a great experience.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Is it breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or just
dinner.
dinners?
Yeah.
Okay.
They have other outlets that do that as well, but
So you just give them a supply list and they'll come up with it, or do you meet suppliers once you're there? Do they have someone?
A lot of the ordering goes via like Bali.
Okay.
But they said that like a lot of the fish and things like that will be like Fisher Direct, which is quite interesting. Like,
okay. Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, we deal with a bit of Fish Direct stuff here, like Two Hands and those kinds of companies, and like that comes with its own like curveballs. So, you know, throw in a language barrier, throw in like probably, you know, island mentality, which is pretty chill. we'll see. It'll be, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's only 12 to 20 covers, so.
What an amazing experience. It'd be really great.
It'll be interesting. Yeah.
I just read a review and the person just said how, and it's a really recent one, of being here and looking at the autumnal sunshine and just what an incredible experience it was. And I really like that because I always feel a little bit like it's got nothing to do with me, of course, but when I've written a story about someone, I like to see that they're still doing well, of course, as you would be. But it was like, oh, that's great. People are still reviewing you. Because you opened a couple of years ago, but then had turmoil. You made it through the end of lockdowns and things.
Yeah, I mean, it was it's so hard, like it's such a blur, right?
Yeah.
Like the actual time frames.
I couldn't even remember when I came here. Like it was...
Yeah, because it's so like stoppy-starty.
Yeah.
And I'm not good with dates and stuff like that. At the best of times, when I was doing my like citizenship application, you have to list all these places that you've been, and I made a mistake. I had to go back and do it. And I was like, it was a nightmare. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, the bulk of COVID was spent here, just hanging out with these guys. So that was nice.
Because you did operate as a kiosk.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? We were really like fortunate and lucky that we had like a bit of a captive audience. Like people are trapped at home. Of course, they're going to be walking up and down the beach. Like I became an expert level barista, something I never thought I would have to learn how to do. But like, it's just fortunate circumstances that you're on the water. Like a lot of other places that tried to pivot and stuff would have struggled a lot more. So I just like timing, right place, right time. That was already baked into the business plan anyways. So yeah, just really lucky.
There's something very magical about eating. I mean, you're very close to the sea. There's other places that are like on the sea or on the beach, but you're literally on the beach. And the sea is really close, especially right now. Is it high tide? Is it as high as it gets?
It could very well be high tide, but yeah, it doesn't fluctuate like very noticeably.
Oh, okay.
I have been told though that when it floods, the water can come all the way up to the Bluestone, which would be pretty crazy. So, but that didn't happen last November, December when it was really, really wet. So
it's amazing. And I think I remember saying too that it'll be beautiful at any time of the year. When it's summer, it's amazing, but then when it's stormy, it's also an impressive place to be. It's really good.
Yeah. Having now spent 2 years here, like coming to work every day, for me, the autumn and the winter is like my favorite time. It's kind of a catch-22. Like in the summertime when it's super sunny and like beautiful, the wind is always a little bit higher. Whereas in the wintertime, it's always super calm, and like especially the mornings, like the water is like glass. It's like so nice to be down here. So and like you say, like when storms happen and things like that, and also like just watching the ships go by. Like Tommy has a ship tracking app, and if you see a peculiar one, you're like, what do they have on board? Where have they been? Like, so that's nice.
It is. It's good.
It's a nice place to come to work.
And has it met your expectations in terms of being owner chefs?
Think so. I don't think like anything has changed for me from being a head chef somewhere and being an owner per se. I like responsibility wise, but I in terms of like mentality and how you conduct yourself in the kitchen, it's the same. And I think that was a big reason why I decided to become, I guess, or have a crack at being a business owner. Like at some point you start to feel like you're I want to be careful how I put this, but you're not boxed in by the people that you're working for per se, but sometimes you see angles and you want to do things a little bit differently, but it's not your business at the end of the day, and you have to toe the line. Even if you are a head chef, like, it's not your money on the line. You can walk away at any point and no risk to you. So I think sometimes, like, young chefs can lose sight of that. But yeah, like, you just got to put your money where your mouth is eventually and have a red hot crack and just leave all the chips on the table, and whatever happens, happens. So yeah. But in terms of, like, I still come into the kitchen the same way I would do 3-4 years ago when I was just a head chef or a sous chef. Nothing has changed for me in that respect at all. So, and like, I think in, like, the French Laundry or something, Thomas Keller, there's, like, a really famous quote from him, and he says that he could always tell who's going to go on to open their own businesses and open their own restaurants and have success, because they treated his restaurant the same way they would treat a restaurant that they owned. And that kind of quote, I mean, it's a bit, like, fanciful, you think, when you're not in those shoes, but now I really understand what, like, it makes sense. Nothing has changed for me in that respect. So yeah.
And that must be, I mean, it must be great for owners to have people like that working in their kitchens, because then you are, you're proud of what you're putting up, and you are taking responsibility for it, and you're, you know, wanting it to succeed. It's the best kind of employee, I would imagine.
Of course, but also it's all, like, the owners are responsible for that as much as well. Like, that is, like, by design, you know. They empower, at least the people that I've worked for, they empowered me. I had ownership over the menu. They're not just, like, delegating from the top and saying, cook this like this. It's like, if you have that kind of ownership over a menu and your team and all the rest of it, then, I mean, of course you're going to want to do your absolute best for them. So
that's true. And I think, like, the same can be said for, you know, the structure of a kitchen and the putting together of a team and how leadership works. I was just at a hospitality event, so mental health and hospitality, on Monday night, run by the Movember team, and in conjunction with some hospo people, and that's a really big question at the moment. Well, not question, it's a really big point of discussion at the moment, well-being in hospitality. And it has to be top down, doesn't it? It has to be the people putting systems in place. And
of course, yeah, absolutely. I think that's, like, that's a greater focus across society, whether you want to focus on hospitality or not. But I think just, like, the awareness level is so much higher even than it was 10 years ago, right? So yeah, and that's important. And it's also, like, we're all really close here as well, so, you know, a lot of the people that are here, like, we're work colleagues, but we're also close friends. So yeah, I think if you can't speak about that with your friends, then
I think that's an incredible context to be in, and how, you know, you've kind of got it all here, and you've got a beautiful setting, and then you're coming to work with your friends. That's the dream.
Totally, that's the dream. But, you know, like, also, I think if you work in hospitality, especially if you're a career professional, you probably enjoy your job. And not everyone can say that, you know, and I think, like, just that in itself, you're really lucky. Because I would, you know, like, a lot of people, a job is a job for them at the end of the day, and it's a way for them to fund other things. So, I mean, if you are fortunate enough to have a profession that you actually genuinely enjoy, and of course there's, like, parts of it that you're not going to love, but on the whole, like, if you enjoy it, like, you should count yourself lucky just from there. So yeah.
I'd like to go back to the start of things for you, because I've read several times, you know, you were 18 and you won a competition to go and cook in France. What happened before that? How did you even get into that position?
This is funny. Well, when I was, like, 14, my friends, it was, like, that time you get a summer job, right? And my friends, they all applied at this petrol station attached to a grocery store. And of course, I want to work with my friends, so I go and apply. And they're like, Jordan, you snooze, you lose. Like, we're all full up for the summer. Like, sorry, there's nothing here for you. And so, you know, like, kicking rocks away from the petrol station, I later found out in that week that the golf course where me and my friends, I played a lot of golf growing up, and the chef there was looking for someone to help out. And yeah, I mean, I started, like, I was already there every day at this golf course, so why not make a bit of cash?
Yeah, right.
I also thought, you know, learning how to cook would be an interesting way to impress the girls, and yeah, I just enjoyed it.
Wow.
It was pretty rough and tumble too. Like, the chef, he was like pretty old school, this old like Swiss dude. Probably drank too much, smoked too many ciggies, but like was a nice guy, like nice enough to take this 14-year-old kid who had like no idea, like no clue, and kind of like just tolerate him for an entire summer, because that's what it would have been.
And were you doing kitchen hand type jobs, or
No,
actually
like cooking
wow.
on the fryer, making sandwiches, lots of like lunchtime stuff, soups,
Yeah.
things like that.
Okay.
So yeah, and then yeah, I did that for consecutive summers until I was like 18, and then my dad was like, you need to like go to university. So I did that for a year, and it wasn't for me.
What did you study?
I studied communications, so I wanted to get into like marketing, advertising, and all the classes that I enjoyed were like had nothing to do with that. Like I took a film class that was like really interesting,
Yes.
and I was just like, I'm not gonna like fit in at a desk, you know, like that's just not me. So then I went to culinary school after that, and my dad was like, he was kind of like, okay, that's what you want to do. But he was like, you did a year, so you gave it a try, so go for it.
Okay. And so then how did the competition, how did that happen?
When I was in culinary school, because I had quite a bit of experience already leading up to that, like I worked at a couple other restaurants prior to that, obviously the golf club for multiple years. I kind of had a slight edge over, say, some other people who were just picking it up for the first time. And I had a mentor at, say, Polytechnic, which is where I went to culinary school, which is in Calgary. And he was like, do you want to try this? Like, it's explaining to me, like, what a black box is and stuff like that. And, you know, Iron Chef was really big at this time as well. So, yeah, I mean, like, that's enticing to somebody who's 18, 19 years old. Like,
Totally.
It's a bit of a competition thing. And, yeah. I played a lot of sport, like competitive sport growing up, and I think there's a common thread with a lot of chefs, and like they're a type of personality, you know, and they're competitive, whether it's overt or kind of undercover, but like.
Yeah, so that's right. So whether or not you're entering competitions, you're always kind of in competition, aren't you, with yourself or with other restaurants? So I guess there's that whole.
Sure, and you know, it's not as negative, or I guess pessimistic is probably a better word to use, as it used to be. I know, like, when I was like in my early 20s, people would go and dine out other places, and they would just then talk shit about it to their other colleagues, like after they had dined out.
Yeah.
And that was a common thing. And I don't notice that as much anymore. It's very rare. Like, everybody is much more supportive, I think, just across the board, because everyone knows like how actually hard it is to do something even very simple. So
you enter the competition and you win, and then you go to France. What's that for?
For experience, work experience, and half of it was organized by the school, and the other half I organized myself.
And had you been to France before?
Never.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then all that French you learnt came into...
Yeah, some of it. But, I mean, it's different French. Like,
it is different French, yes.
Quebecois French.
Yes, yes.
And it's a lot faster, especially if you're not a fluent speaker. So.
And how do you go about organising things for yourself when you're 18.
You just knock on doors until like, and lots of people turn me away. Like,
in Paris?
Yeah, like several people were like, you know, and people tell you stories about you just keep coming back, keep knocking on doors. But like, some of the people were like one guy, I tried to get into L'Estrance, which was like 3 Michelin stars at that time. Pascal Barbeau had been to Australia. He's like a fluent English speaker. And I went like 3 days in a row. And on the third day, he's like, listen, like, I'm just not, like, you can't speak French. He's like, it's just not going to happen. I really admire what you're trying to do. Maybe try here, here, and here. But this is too high level for you, basically, is what he said in a nice way.
Oh.
But, you know, at least he was honest. And at least he gave me some recommendations of places that I could go instead. So.
And is that how you ended up at Chateaubriand?
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, exactly. And like, those guys were like super cool. Like, where I'm from in Canada, it's not exactly like a culinary hotbed. And I guess there's not so many people that you can look up to. Like, you know, in Melbourne, there are so many like professional career chefs that are like killing it, right? Like absolutely killing it. So you have those kind of trajectories that you can look up to. But I think in France, that was where I was like, okay, these guys, they live cool lifestyles. They basically do whatever they want. They're cooking amazing food. And it was fun, you know? It was like...
That's good to hear, because I feel like I would have thought it would be all like the brigade there as well, and that there would be that kind of... Because
it wasn't so much like that in France.
Oh,
and and I think that was because of the places that I chose to go.
Yeah, sure, great.
I then went to London for a period after that, and it was like rough and tumble, like really hard. Like one of the worst years of my life, but one that ended up paying like the most dividends in terms of like opening up doors down the track. And yeah, it was like all the nightmare stories you hear about the culture, bad culture, that was those places in the UK.
And sure, it opens doors, and I know you obviously learn things, but I mean, how much is it mostly about opening doors, or did you learn a huge amount of technique and so on that year as well?
You did.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't recommend like doing it that way. It doesn't need to be like that.
No.
And you realize that after the fact, but yeah, definitely a lot of learning.
Yeah. And what brought you to Melbourne?
I was kind of just... I'd come back from Europe, and I spent a few years in Vancouver, and it's kind of just time to go and see some other things, do some other things, and pad out my CV, like just put a couple of bigger names back on my CV. And the plan was to come back to Canada, and then, you know, the world's your oyster. And it was a toss-up between San Francisco and here. Oh. I went down to San Francisco, and it's like very expensive, as everyone knows. Healthcare is like non-existent in America. Things were kind of starting to get a bit like weird there as well, politically. And so I went, after a couple of weeks in San Francisco, I came back, and I had met a friend in Europe who was not like hospitality related. He was moving here, and I was like, you know what, I'll just do something totally off-piste and give this a crack. So yeah.
Was there a culture shock moving to Melbourne?
I don't think so. Not as much as like places that I've been to previously. Like, you know, not compared to France, especially Australia, Canada. Being Commonwealth countries, there's a lot of parallels, especially in like mentality and things like that. So
yeah. I had a slight cult because I thought that Melbourne would be really similar to New Zealand, and it obviously is in many ways, but there are some really quite marked differences. I think just maybe coming from a small country to a much bigger one with just, you know, background experiences and just in kind of, you know, jokes and things. But I think it's probably different, coming from... Well, we do have the same understanding, obviously, as all coming from Commonwealth countries. Yeah, it's interesting.
But it is very different.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. It's still, it's. I wouldn't say it's like a culture shock. It wasn't shocking to me, but of course, any new place is going to be different.
So is that 10 years you've been here now?
Nearly. Again, I'm terrible with the dates, but it would be like maybe 10 in July. Yeah.
Amazing. And just, your menus are so delicious and really
very nice.
Innovative, but approachable. You know, you're not looking at going, I've got no idea what that is. I just do a quick Google. What's your inspiration?
I just want people to enjoy themselves. I think, the days of like these like lauded chefs on like a pedestal, that's like that bubble has really burst. Like people just don't really care that much. They just want to have a nice time and eat some nice food and be a little bit interested. For me, that's my perception. I'm sure there will be people that disagree with my sentiment, but it's not about me. It's not about any individual here. It's about people having a nice time. But it still needs to be interesting enough that people who dine out all the time, all around town, constantly, are still stimulated. So I guess having those kind of familiar pieces to latch onto and then maybe just twisting it or putting a unique spin on it, that's kind of where I find myself.
And is there not a need, I can't think of the word, it's Friday night, and let's just say need for now, to have seafood and shellfish on the menu because you're by the sea?
Of course, yeah. I mean, it's an easy, it makes sense. Like you can see the water, like, and it just so like luckily has fallen into place that's like a comfort level of mine. It has been for a very long time, and being in Australia, like honestly, we have some of the best seafood in the world. Maybe only Japan really can kind of edge us out. And just diversity, like so much diversity, so many different species. If certain things are unavailable, you can easily pivot and like make a shift. So like that's exciting. That's what's fun about being here in Melbourne.
Absolutely. And can you still be surprised by food?
Of course, yeah, all the time. All the time, yeah. And sometimes when you least expect it, like, and sometimes it's not a direct surprise, but it'll make you think about things differently. I'm trying to think of an example off the top of my head, but, even I can't remember where I was, but I had something the other day that I thought was going to be hot, and it was like cold, like deliberately cold, and that was surprising. And just little things like that, you can be surprised. I don't think I'll ever stop being surprised. You've never seen it all. Like, the world of food and like food culture is so vast, right? So yeah, I don't think you'll ever stop being surprised.
And just to finish with, what would be your advice for someone who was thinking about becoming a chef?
My advice for someone who's thinking about becoming a chef. I don't know, that's tough.
Or what would you tell your younger self that you know now that you might have been not so in the clear, known about?
Look up to people. Try to. I don't know. Let's try. I'm just thinking of like some of the apprentices that we have and or have had, and things that I've told them, but it's so hard, like, because I think it's not easy. It's not easy. Nothing in this life is, right? I guess it would just be keep your chin up. Like, you're gonna have setbacks, and not every day is gonna be an amazing day, but you have to let that kind of water off a duck's back. You know, you gotta stay positive, stay in a positive environment with positive people as well. If you are in a toxic environment with people who are like innately negative, get out of it. Like, that's no good. Yeah, that would be my only advice.
I think that's good advice.
Yeah.
Thank you, and all the
Thank
best
you.
for your residency.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Conversation with the Chef with Jordan Clay at Pipi's Kiosk. You can check out all the goodness for yourselves by heading to the edge of the map, Albert Park Beach, and sitting in prime position with the sea, the sunset, the storms, or whatever the day has in store for you. Right now, though, you could jump on Instagram at Pipi's Kiosk. That's PIPISKIOSK, all one word, and see all the fabulousness for yourselves. If you liked what you heard and you want to hear more stories from other chefs, I'm on Instagram at Conversation with a Chef. You can read the chat at www.conversationwithachef.com. I would so love it if you told a friend about my chats, and of course you can follow me on Apple and Spotify podcasts, so then I know that you're there. Once again, thanks for listening and have a great day.